Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I thought I would share my top 10 tips to prepare for university over summer. Some of these things I actually didn't do myself, or I would definitely recommend, because if I'd have known some of these things I would have definitely done them last year. So I thought this list would be really good, really helpful. I hope it is anyway. I hope it is useful to some of you guys, and then it will help you maybe get prepared and maybe make you less nervous, maybe ease your nerves at least, make you feel a little bit more comfortable when you're going in so you're not panicked and as overwhelmed as it can be. My experience when I first went was so overwhelming in the first week, but you do get used to it quickly. You start building up a routine, even if it's not the best routine. You start getting into some sort of mini routine. It's not very strict at all because your lectures change all the time, so yeah, the whole experience can be very overwhelming at first is what I'm trying to say, and maybe these tips will help you prepare and make you feel less stressed when you do go. Just a little side note, if you watch videos on both of my channels, I'm not wearing any base makeup. I'm just wearing SPF and moisturiser on my face. I'm trying to make my skin really nice before I go on holiday. I'm just wearing brows and mascara if anyone is wondering why I'm barefaced. I just really like my skin at the minute and I'm happy with how it's going, so I hope it doesn't offend anyone if I'm not wearing like a full face of makeup. I'm sure it won't. So tip number one is to save money. I know this probably seems like the most obvious one, which is why I'm starting with it, but I would definitely recommend, if you can, getting a temporary part-time job. If some jobs won't take you on at the minute, try and look for temporary places that you can fill over summer. I'm quite fortunate enough in the fact that I get to come back to my job in summer and they'll take me back on, because it's quite like an independent place. Like big supermarkets and retail places don't usually do things like this, but I am lucky in the fact that I can go back to my job in summer. If you can't do that, then do have a look for some online jobs, maybe on Indeed.co.uk or places like that, where you can find temporary places, and fingers crossed you can get a job over summer, or even if it's like bar or pub work, something like that. Earn some money. Maybe sell clothes that you're not using anymore, selling old bits of technology that you don't use anymore, just trying to find ways to make money and save a bit before you go to uni, because it will seriously help out in the long run. And I would recommend with that, open up a savings account and placing some money in there for like second semester as well, because I really struggled from January to April because I had quite a lot of money that I'd saved, but I used it all in like September to December. So I really wish that I'd have put more money in my savings so that I didn't struggle as much in the new year. So my second tip would be to buy essentials over the whole of summer. I wouldn't leave it till the last like couple of weeks, or even just buy it all in one go, because it will seem like a lot. I spent quite a lot of money, even though I did budget well and bought really inexpensive items. Altogether that would have been a really crazy amount of money to spend on things. Although I did need them, it just would have been quite daunting spending all that money in one go. So I was fortunate enough to get help from my like family. They bought a few things for me, but I did buy the majority of like my decorations and a number of essentials that I actually needed myself, and I split that over the course of the year. Like I probably started collecting uni stuff from like April time, but from now you can still split the cost over the next couple of months before you go to uni. So I definitely recommend doing it like that. Maybe go for an IKEA shop, a B&M shop, a Home Bargains, like really cheap places that sell really nice cutlery, crockery, all the uni essentials, all the like homeware things for really cheap prices, and they're decent quality as well. It's most likely that things are going to break in first year, so if you're buying cheap things then it's not so much of a disappointment if they do go missing or do break, if you know what I mean, and they can easily be replaced. My third tip would be to ask friends and family if they have any like spare kitchen supplies. Some universities don't provide you with kettles, toasters, microwaves, things like that. We were fortunate enough in our halls to have most things provided. We just didn't have a toaster, and my boyfriend's mum had like a spare toaster, so she kindly gave it to me and I was able to take that to my halls with me, and I'm actually going to take it into my second year house as well, because we're not sure if we have a toaster yet. We can't really remember the supplies we actually do have in our kitchen. Things like that are really helpful. Like find out if anyone's got a spare TV, maybe, if you do want to take a TV with you. I personally didn't have a TV in my first year because I just watch YouTube most of the time, or Netflix, and you don't need a TV license for that. So you could ask for like spare TVs if anyone has them in the attic and stuff. Like I know I have a spare TV at my house in the attic, but I just don't use it. I'd recommend asking around, see if anyone has anything spare. Even if you give them a bit of money for it or just borrow it for first year, it will really help you out instead of having to fork out and buying them. And then obviously let your flatmates know if you do have like a group chat going on. Otherwise you might all end up bringing 6 toasters and that'll be a bit of a waste. So tip number 4 would be to join social media groups. If you are going to university to have like the social life as well and make new friends, then I would definitely recommend joining social media groups. There are a lot of Facebook groups for accommodation chats, course chats and things like that, so you can get to know people before you even go to uni. This will hopefully ease your nerves and make you a little bit more comfortable going to like lectures and going into your halls for the first time, because you'll have seen people's faces on like Facebook and you'll have had a chat beforehand, so it's not so awkward. There is obviously going to be that initial awkwardness like there usually is when you first meet new people, but it will make it easier if you know who you're like actually approaching. There are also things on Twitter, like I know at Lincoln there are like students union pages on Twitter. They have an Instagram account as well, so you can like interact with the university as well, so make it a little bit more of a community. And I don't know, I just think joining social media group chats made it a little bit more easier for me to settle in, know what's going on. You see all the announcements, all the freshers details, all that bits and bobs. So yeah, join social media chats because I think it will calm your nerves a lot. Number 5 is not essential, but it may help if you can get your hands on something like this. But I managed to, in my first couple of weeks of uni, just had a look in some of the charity shops and some like bookshops like Oxfam and stuff, and I ended up coming across a few forensics books that were super cheap. Like although I didn't know that I was definitely going to go into that route, I bought this like huge thick forensic toxicology book that would have been £80 if I'd have bought it from Amazon or eBay or something like that, and it was down to £3. So if you go into these places and find books that are related to your course, I definitely recommend going into charity shops and things like that if you are looking to do a bit of reading before you go to your course, because then you get a little bit of an insight into what you could be looking at during the years, or if you look at your modules before, a bit of background research, because that's going to help you more than anything. Also, don't worry if you can't find anything to do with that, because I obviously didn't do that before I went to uni and I was fine. Right, number 6 is something that I thought about a few days ago. I had to just change all of my addresses, all of like the clothing places that I buy from, my subscription boxes that I have, and some of the PR lists and things that I'm on. I had to change my address back to my home one again. So I definitely consider any subscriptions that you have, like maybe you're subscribed to a magazine or a journal or a subscription box, make sure you change your address just before you go to uni so that things aren't going to your parents' house if you are moving to halls. It can just be a bit of a stress if you don't know the next time you're going to see your parents, and depends if you need the things that are going in that subscription box or you really want them at your university. So yeah, consider what you need to change over to your new uni address and how you go about that, because all of the university like postal services work a little bit differently. I just feel like that's something that you should consider just before you go to uni. Number 7 would be to practice some skills before you go. For me, I wish that I had done some cooking before I went. I did. It is quite fun, I guess, going, not knowing what's going on and learning things for yourself, but I do wish that I had prepared and maybe cooked a few meals in the summer that I could have done at uni. I'm a really bad cook. Like I can bake stuff, I'm really good at like baking nice things, but I don't really cook very well. But I did learn a few meals by the end of my time at uni, but I wish I did cook more in the summer so that I could have made myself a variety of meals. So I definitely recommend learning some new skills that you maybe are not good at. Some of you may be great cooks, but cooking, washing your own clothes, I definitely recommend maybe becoming a bit more independent in the summer, because that could help you a lot when you go to uni and you might not seem so like, again, overwhelmed when you get there. Okay, so number 8 is something else that I thought about the other day. Before I went to uni, I had a massive folder full of important documents that I'd like photocopied and taken with me just in case. Like, I definitely recommend taking your passport, photocopying maybe your birth certificate, because something could come up whilst you're at uni that may require that, like jobs and things like that. Your driver's license, even if you're not driving. I took my driver's license as a form of ID when I went out. I'd also recommend maybe photocopying or taking like either P60 or P45, I can't remember, if you are looking to get a job whilst you're at uni. I just feel like it's important to take all these documents, maybe have it in one single folder so you know that all the important documents are in there, and if you do need them, they'll be easily accessible. Number 9 is something that may sound a bit like nerdy, but I wish I did this before because I feel like I wouldn't have been so behind. Not that I was really affected, because I felt like I caught up quite quickly. I feel like I would have benefited more if I did some background research before I went into my course. If you look at your like modules and what you have coming up, you can find like module details and stuff on whatuni.com. This isn't sponsored by them, by the way, but I always use what uni when I was like looking at my course and everything. But if you look at like your module details for first year or second year or whatever year you're going into, you can find what you're going to be doing in that year. So maybe you could do a bit of background research, read some free ebooks online, have a look at some articles and journals and things like that before you go. Maybe find a book, like I said earlier, that's really cheap. And you can have a bit of background research, catch up on things that you may have missed out on or you may think you might be lacking. I wish I'd have looked at chemistry stuff a bit more in the summer, so I wasn't so like blind-eyed when I went in. But yeah, that's just something a little bit extra that you can do that will probably help you out in the future when you're studying. And then the final tip that I would say to prepare for uni over summer is to update your CV. If you are going to be struggling with money and you think that a part-time job will be best for you, then I definitely recommend updating your CV while you have all this time in summer doing nothing. Just pop in all of your recent grades. Maybe after results day you can pop in all of your recent A-level grades, any work experience that you've done over the summer, all of the different skills that you have. Update your CV so then you can take it in and you don't have to stress about it when you go to uni and have to update it then. It will probably help you get a job. And lots of places that have universities nearby are really open to students having jobs and being lenient with times and everything. So yeah, I definitely recommend updating your CV beforehand if you can. And yeah, they were my top tips for preparing for university over summer. I really hope they help people and that they were useful and things that you hadn't heard before. I know a few of them definitely will be, but I just hope that it's made you think a little bit more about what you could be doing over summer to help you in the future. And make sure to smash thumbs up if you did enjoy, subscribe down below if you're new. I'm holding some giveaways, if you didn't know, on this channel, my Instagram and my main channel, so I'll leave those all down below if you are interested in entering. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if there's any other uni videos you want to see very soon. I have a lot planned and coming up, and I will see you very soon for a brand new video. Bye!